The UK government's one-in, one-out deal to return migrants to France will come into force today, with detentions expected to begin by the end of this week. The deal will allow the UK to send back people crossing the Channel in small boats in exchange for asylum seekers with ties to Britain. But opposition parties say the numbers returned will be low. They won't make a difference. Our political correspondent Jack Fenwick sent this report.
Ministers hope today's agreement could reduce the number of scenes like this. A record 25,000 people crossed the Channel on small boats between January and July. And the Prime Minister knows it's one of the main issues that he'll be judged on come the next election. Since coming to power last July, Sir Keir Starmer has repeatedly pledged to smash the people smuggling gangs that organise the crossings.
It's a real pleasure to be here with President Macron.
Last month he announced a so-called one-in, one-out migration pilot scheme with the French President Emmanuel Macron, which Downing Street says is a major new step. That will see some people who arrive in the UK on small boats detained if their asylum claims are deemed inadmissible. They could then be forcibly returned to France. In exchange, the UK will accept an equivalent number of asylum seekers under a new legal migration route. Ministers say they can't return everyone and have been coy about exactly how many people this scheme will involve. But they hope it will serve as a deterrent for other migrants thinking about setting off across the Channel from France.
Chris Philp.
The Conservative Shadow Home Secretary, Chris Philp, says the plan will make no difference whatsoever and is a gimmick which won't work. This type of agreement is new and untested. The pilot will run for a year and will be ratified today. The government says people could be detained within days. The first returns would then be likely in the coming weeks. Jack Fenwick, BBC News, Westminster.
Well, our colleagues on BBC Breakfast challenged the UK's Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, about the effectiveness of the one-in, one-out policy.
I don't understand why giving out a number, even just an ambition of a number, even at this early stage, would affect the smuggling gangs and put them off doing the job or increase their job.
Well, what we know with the way the criminal gangs work is they use any information that they can in order to try and tell people, oh, well, this is the day you need to get into the boats, you need to go now, this is what you need to do. We've seen them do that continually over through the years. And we've also seen them just exploit any rules they can. For example, one of the reasons we've had particular problems this year is because they've been deliberately exploiting the French rules, which mean up until now, France has not been intervening in French waters, in shallow waters. And so therefore, the boats have been loading up in shallow waters. Now, that is changing now as a result of the agreement that we have with France. So France will be able to take action in French waters. But it's just a good example of any information that's provided. The criminal gangs use that to operationalise. They use that as part of their advertising. But we will provide regular updates. So people will be able to see the numbers that are being returned. They will be able to see the numbers of people who are being detained as we go through this programme.
It's been reported, both here and in France, that initially at least we might only be talking about sending back about 50 migrants every week. Last week, 1,355 people came across the Channel in small boats, in which case that's not one in, one out, is it? It's, 26 in and one out. Can you understand that people are going to take some convincing that this policy is going to work and it's really going to make a difference?
Well, let me make a couple of points in response to that. Firstly, I just think this is the right principle that we should be pursuing, that people who are arriving on small boats should, frankly, be returned to France. They're coming on illegal boats. They're paying thousands of pounds to criminal people smugglers. That money should be lost and they should be returned. And also the principle that where we take people from other countries, we should do so through a legal process where people have gone through security checks. So those are the right principles to establish. And bear in mind, this has never happened with France before. We have never had this in place throughout the 6 years that these small boat chaos has been continuing. So I think it's right that we establish that. We do know that the Greece-Turkey agreement that happened, that was brought in 2015-2016, that only operated for a short period of time, but actually had quite a big impact as well. And also, look, we have never claimed that there is a single silver bullet on this. So this goes alongside the 28% increase in returns of failed asylum seekers that we have brought in. It goes alongside the change to those French maritime rules that I referred to, which means France taking action in French waters to prevent boat crossings in the first place, and the much stronger law enforcement that we announced earlier this week with the additional National Crime Agency investigators and police to be able to go after the criminal gangs. We have to do all of these things, and we will be announcing further reforms to the asylum system later on this year because, frankly, we also inherited a broken asylum system, and that is causing a lot of problems in the system too.
Yvette Cooper.